opportunity. Is there anybody else on the Zoom call?
Nope, just me and us.
Okay. All right, then, next item on the agenda is the minutes of the previous meeting. I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I can't, I was absent last meeting.
No, I will second the motion. All those in favor?
Oh wait, we can't.
We can't
until we have
get another member.
And we
Okay.
get- yeah.
So that will,
Yeah.
we will table for that. All
I
right.
will withdraw my motion.
And I will withdraw my second. New business, do you want to wait on?
Yeah, I'll wait on
the
that.
Until they get here?
Do we want to just check off the warrants because they are pretty?
We might as well. They're just-
Or we can do liquor licenses. Those are
We
really
can do
easy.
liquor license and the warrants. How about that?
We have 3 liquor licenses, 2 establishments.
Yeah. Outside consumption permit. And this is for Remotos, outside consumption permit.
And then one's for the commons.
And the art gallery mall plan serving permit. 2 different ones.
All right, I make a motion to approve Arlington Remontos for outside consumption permit. So then that's it.
Second.
Motion made by Glenn and seconded by Todd to approve the outside consumption permit for Arlington Remontos. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 2 abstentions. And then the next one.
I make a motion to approve a one-time occasion for the Arlington Commons for the art gallery malt menu serving permit.
Second.
Motion made by Glenn and seconded by Todd to approve the, what was the name of it?
The art gallery malt
The art gallery.
menu.
Yes.
Malt and Venus serving permit for the
The-
Commons. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do you want to go back to that?
We're good to go on both of those. Yeah, if we want. I would say let's hold the updates until Cynthia's here.
Okay, it's coming across the road.
Oh, perfect. Then let's just hold.
I'll go back and I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Good?
You got a second.
Motion made to.
Yes, that's
He
second.
wasn't at the meeting. So. Motion made by Todd to approve the minutes of the last meeting, seconded by Jamie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 1 absent. All right. So,
Want to do the warrants?
yeah, let's do those.
Yeah, we have 4.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report 23-3 in the amount of $2,000 to MSK Engineers for the Benedict project.
2, Second that motion.
7 3 3 5 4 8
Sorry,
9
second.
is not available.
2000 even.
Phone,
Yep.
please record.
Oh, Benedict Bridge.
And that was for, what was the?
MSK.
MSK engineering. So,
Yes, I did.
motion made by Todd, seconded by, who seconded that? Damon?
I did.
To approve check warrant report 23-3 in the total amount of 2,000. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to approve check warrant report A 23-2 in the amount of $9,000 even. It is for R.H.R. Smith, which is our auditor.
Second.
Motion made by Todd and seconded by Glenn to approve check warrant report A 23-2 for the auditor in the total amount of $9,000. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report WD 10. The amount is $143,775 $1,000,000.13. The biggest chunk of this is to the Wilmington Trust for the revolving loan payment of
The annual
$135.
payment
Yep.
of $135. So motion was made by Todd, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Glenn to approve check warrant report WD10 in the total amount of $143,775.13. The biggest single item on that warrant is the annual payment for the loan on the water system. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And I will make a motion to approve check warrant report 10 in the amount of $22,685.71.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Todd and seconded by Glenn to approve check warrant report 10, total amount of $22,685.71. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That was just the normal general warrant order.
Okay, so I fell asleep in my chair, which is why I'm late. Did I sleep through the whole meeting? You're doing the warrants? I mean, what's going on?
No,
You
we
just
did
do it
the
at the
warrants
beginning?
first.
We did the warrants because
I feel like
we
Rip
wanted
Van
to.
We
Winkle.
were waiting
You know, it's
for
like-
you for the other reports.
What day is that?
No, you know, you fell asleep for 5 minutes and you're like, you know? It's like-
Nick, I used the
But it felt so
back of
good
one
for
of
that
these.
five
That's fine, no one's gonna, no one's
So
gonna.
if you need to blanket out,
We'll
we'll.
take care of it.
All right. So back to new business, 4.1 is the wastewater loan approval vote. And there's several places to sign, some of them are individuals, some of them are the treasurer and so forth.
So
But
there are 2 places for the full board to sign in this packet. They're both marked with a sticky note.
yeah, if you want to just give the highlights on what this
So-
is for.
So this is just the wastewater study that we've been talking about for a few months. We've approved this now a couple of times. This is just the loan documentation from the bond bank that does all the paperwork for that, paying for that study. It is a reimbursable loan, so if you look at Exhibit C right before the end, it shows there is no repayment schedule, there is no interest rate. It is just, and it is directly analogous to those of you who are on the board during the water department work. It's the Main Street project. It behaves the exact same way where we submit the reimbursements as we go, as we get billed by the engineer, we pass those bills on in tranches back to the water staff, and then they reimburse us. So that's what this paperwork says. It's all in order. It matches all the other stuff from bond bank.
So we pay the invoices, then we get reimbursed.
Then we get reimbursed,
And
but
what
it's
do we
not.
pay, where do we pay the invoices from?
We are doing that out of the ARPA pieces.
Okay.
So then it comes back as an ARPA.
So just need a motion to, and a second to approve it. And then we'll vote.
I make a motion to approve the loan agreement with the Vermont State Revolving Fund, loan RF13271.0, in the amount of $103,465.
Second.
Motion made by Cynthia and seconded by Todd to approve the loan for the wastewater study. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, then we have a number of updates.
Yeah.
Nick's gonna just
I'm
update
gonna
us
take
on
advantage of-
things that are going on, because we didn't have a whole lot on the agenda, so we're just, any subjects that we missed, feel free to throw in.
Absolutely. So first, sidewalk, I am gonna call Green Mountain Power tomorrow morning to see where they are in their easement process. As soon as they finalize those easements, I'm gonna visit with the last landowner about getting our final easement in order. Still on track to build in 2024 construction season. I still expect us to be approving an RFP for this by the end of this year. So not much change, but we certainly know there's been progress on the Green Mountain Power side that's been holding that project back. Benedict Crossing study, we just had a warrant for a piece of that, very small piece of that, and as you saw in my report a couple of weeks ago, back at the end of April, they did their site visit at the end of April to take measurements. The study is ongoing. It's still on track to be done sometime this summer. And we certainly heard a lot of fruitful discussion from the experts that are on that project about creative ways to get a repair option designed as the mandated study makes clear, but also there's some pretty good confidence that we'll be able to get to a repair option as the primary option.
A repair, could you clarify what that means?
As in replace some of the timbers or something like that with sufficiently structurally strong timbers. But I don't want to speak to the experts on this other than kind of the preliminary conversations while we were out there. But certainly there is confidence that a repair, not replace solution will be designed successfully. So playground, we're actively seeking bidders. We're going to be on it. That's going to be on the coming agenda to get that award done, and we'll have that up sometime this summer. Wastewater study, you just got the update on that. There's going to be a meeting next Thursday on this. We have mailers going out sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Next Thursday or this Thursday?
It's not this Thursday. Next Thursday.
1 week from Thursday.
Yes, 1 week from Thursday. So 3 of you are on that committee. Anyone else who wants updates, feel free to ask anything out of that. Zoning reform, the municipal planning grant is winding down. The bulk of that work is behind us. And they just finished the massing rules, which were the last big piece. They had a meeting on Thursday about the definitions, and we should be bringing that to a public meeting sometime in the next month or so. And then letting copper rule compliance work, we got a response to the RFP we put out. Well, later on this agenda is an item to talk about scheduling the special water meeting to get that awarded. Paving, no acceptances from the state this year on paving grants, so we're not going to be doing any major paving projects, which is to be expected.
Question. Go ahead.
So in the first one, obviously just woke up.
Yeah.
It says actively soliciting ideas for next budget.
Oh, yes.
Do you mean, is that you?
So
Is that the state?
no,
Is
this
that
is
both?
me. This is me putting out there. There are future grant rounds that have nothing to do with this project, and I certainly want to hear. I'm continuing to put out to the public. Hello, I would like to hear your ideas for how we can improve the bike and pedestrian environment in particular, moving forward for the next project beyond this. If construction on this is imminent, there's grant rounds to do these things, and many of them are. I have not been able to come up with a viable idea of a project, so I'm just putting it out there. If there are ideas of how we can further improve bike and pedestrian safety, this is something that I'd like to hear. I'd like to plant the seed in the back of your minds, knowing that there is money out there to plan this. If you have other kind of pain points, we can be seeking other grants for this related work to this project.
Okay, well, I mean, I think this one's gonna take us a long time.
I certainly think this one's going to take us some time.
Based on East Arlington Road and the Church Street sidewalk, those were difficult enough, but one of the things that was originally supposed to be part of the Church Street sidewalk was actually going down 313, at least part of the way. And I don't know how to solve the section with the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the solution there is. People use it all the time. I use it all the time. I don't think it's particularly great in terms of pedestrian safety. And again, I don't know how to solve it. There is a walkway, which is more than is true on many other roads. So I don't know what the priority would be, but to me, I don't know what else there would be. I don't know what else you got. I mean, I won't
Yeah,
to anything.
that
But
is
that is the key thing to me.
I'm glad you raised that, because Willie brought that up to me over the last year as a person plowing these things.
Wow.
It's
Oh,
tough
yeah.
to plow.
Oh, yeah.
It almost seems like that might be where we should write a grant to get. That's very similar to the Benedict Crossing one, but through a different grant program, obviously. where it's about bringing an engineer in to solve the problem and provide us with the designs, and then if and when we're ready to bring that out, to getting the permitting in place and the whatnot, it's almost get an engineer's eyes on this in a fairly small engineering project that is still over the minimum grant threshold. Like,
But I mean, but the problem here is not just the awkwardness and the engineering, it's the state.
oh yeah,
Because just getting
313.
the sidewalk to the post office, it didn't meet their width requirements because there wasn't room. That was hell getting that through.
absolutely.
And this is just the same way. The other thing you should know, just because you weren't involved at the time, but originally we were supposed to dig up and relay all the marble slabs that are actually under that dirt. And when we found out that there was no foundation to that wall, we don't want to dig down. So I actually think we should just like forget historic marble, just put asphalt over it. I mean, raise the level up and put asphalt over it or something like that.
Or if the state
and not
requires-
not worry too much about the marble.
I mean, state may require us to lay some fresh marble over it or something like that,
no,
but that'd be
yeah.
interesting.
But then you'd have to dig down to do. They want.
To look.
We had
Proper footing.
just it's not good.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not good.
No,
and
there's
we might want to
definitely-
do something without state funding because the state is so irrational. That would be my.
No, certainly,
Sorry.
point well taken. I'm just planting the seed here. That's a
Yeah.
great point to have as a default #1 project that is tricky, and we might want to get someone who knows.
I think it would be good to get somebody who can be creative about putting together like the engineering constraints, the state road constraints, the private property constraints. There's that wall and everything. So, okay, thank you. I just wanted to
Excellent,
mention
thank you.
That's all.
You were last on paving.
Nick, I have a question on zoning. I know the state was considering, and I believe there was a bill that was introduced about changing statewide zoning, not allowing 2-acre zoning, making everything be at least 1-acre zoning. Have you seen anything come?
So
through?
S100 is through. Importantly, Arlington has no minimum property sizes over 1 acre. It's something that the previous planning commissions see as, and I think I can speak to Chris Hines' legacy, as this was seen as one of the hallmarks of what makes Arlington special in a positive way in the zoning space. So for areas on municipal water and sewer, importantly, it is both, not one or the other. There are further mandatory decreases in that. For us, that means in the village. And I can certainly speak to the fact that the Planning Commission has taken seriously what's in S100 and tried to get out ahead of what's in S100 so that our areas that are on the water system are being zoned to meet those requirements now, instead of us passing a fresh bylaw that has just been preempted by state law, is already out of compliance.
But if there's no water, if there's no sewer, the water's irrelevant.
Right, but yeah, they're getting out ahead of this, knowing that the previous version of S100, last year's version, had rules that only applied for areas that had purely just water. So they're being, one of the nice things about these minimum lot size rules is that getting out ahead of making them smaller fits with making more of the built form of Arlington non-grandfathered, in as much as it is back to being compliant with what the zoning that was implemented on top of it was. So I'm really happy with where they came out on the massing requirements so far. There will be public comment sessions to talk about that, but they did put a very keen focus on the minimum lot size requirements as part of this reform to make sure that they are not requiring people to own too much land and can allow that affordable housing type development and the ADU things and all kinds of minor things that can make Arlington more affordable now. It's a great reform, and they've also been conservative in this reform in as much as they've worked very clearly to know that we know that the triggers in the rural zone are very extreme, are high. People care deeply about what the rural zone looks like. So there has not been a lot of meddling with the massing requirements of rural zone. It speaks to what the state is trying to get us to do, which is concentrate, allow development in the village centers of town. So this reform does that. I have the massing rules on, in my notes right here if anyone wants to look at them after the meeting. But certainly look for that public meeting coming up because it's definitely an exciting reform to be coming through. The planning commissions are really proud of the work that they're doing to make Arlington more affordable.
Okay, personal policy discussion, personnel policy discussion. Is this Northeast Delta Dental?
Yes, so that all goes together.
Act on?
It's something that this is just a conversation starting key item with at the request of Tiffany in part, because we were informed that open enrollment for vision and dental is for the next month. So if the board wants to think about personnel policies, this is just planting the seed of if you want to start thinking about whether we want to offer vision, dental, other adjustments to the personnel policies. I intend on having this on the next agenda to discuss further on ways that we can make our personnel policies more appealing to staff and more in line with what you guys think the policies should be. So usually we revisit the personnel policies every year, right around this time of year. So we're far enough away from when the employee reviews are in September and other factors to know that summer is the time to revisit your policies and your ordinances. So starting a conversation now about whether we want to add benefits, change benefits, things like that. But that's not a matter that we have to discuss at length tonight. It's mostly I want to get you thinking about it so we can address it at the next meeting if we want to.
Question?
I don't recall discussing this before, or making any kind of decision on it. I mean, it would be wonderful to be able to offer these things, but we already pay the full freight for our full-time employees in terms of the health insurance. When I look ahead, all I see is the cost of things rising that are out of our control, and this is something that's in our control. I just can't see adding this right now. I understand how attractive it will be, I understand the employee retention, and we're not making a decision right now, but it would take a lot to convince me that this is something that we should do, even if the cost is not significant, because of this question of the uncertainty and the rising costs that face us.
Well understood, and I think the public needs to certainly hear that this may also be a time to start thinking about some of the kind of cash benefits that we're thinking about, vacation time, holidays, things like that, that we can just over the next couple of weeks, whether there are other margins at which we can make ourselves more competitive as an employer, but certainly all towns typically look at these at least once a year. This is me putting it on your agenda as you start the conversation at least once a year to make sure that we're where we need to be on that. So there's no actually actionable business on that. So
Is this something we can offer to our employees for them to pay for? Just a question.
Yes.
Saying that's the way
I think so, or at least
That's not what it's
or no,
supposed to say.
So yes for families, no for the employee themselves. So we can certainly make it so we would pay for the employee, but any dependents, they would have to pay full freight for. That is how it was explained to me by Tiffany.
Says.
Yes, that's what Tiffany explained there. That it would be a per employee. We're not covering dependents. This is not like health insurance.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything you need to highlight on the report?
Not really. As you know, I was out in the last week, so it's a pretty short report. We were all over the place. Certainly, Mark has some updates under all of the business, but the crew did a great job bouncing around town doing some of these central projects last week that address a lot of the problems as well as addressing some long-standing state deliverables that get some problems that the state very much cares about, including little things that we wouldn't have noted, like right here on Church Street, some regrading in there. So I'm really I mean, yeah.
Regrading it?
They would, Mark can speak to that.
Right across from the health center. You'll see
Oh,
where it's- Yeah, well, the lawn was that much higher than the blacktop, the water couldn't get,
Oh.
the ditch, so,
Yeah, we had like a little 10-foot segment of fail in there that.
yeah.
So yeah, why don't you give us an update on what you've been doing and any questions or
We got that,
concerns?
we got that done, some other little ditching on East Arlington Road across from Matt Molding, where the water comes down and was going into the low-income housing driveway there, I can't remember the center lane.
Arlington Village Center.
Anyways, we put a little ditch in there to divert the water into the actual ditch and got the water away. Fixed some spots that the state didn't like on River Road around the culverts because they wanted more stone around the inlet ends of the culverts, which wasn't a big deal. Just stuff so we can get caught up. Did some ditching on Dunham Road.
Sycamore Lane got completely rebuilt in this.
Sycamore Lane got brushed, ditched, graded. And today we went to the yellow barn, did all the stuff that Roger wanted done. That's taken care of. Tomorrow we're putting up flags for Tim Williams because I don't want to see Tim,
Nope.
and I'm sure you guys don't either, see Tim climb a ladder
He's
anymore.
done enough of that.
Exactly, so it'll take us a couple hours, we'll put the flags all up. I'll get the mowing done before the weekend, before Memorial Day. The covered bridge, the signs entering town. Probably up through from the school to Warrenbrook, that, just pretty things up a little bit. So, then I wanna get the boys started on ditching, starting on River Road, way down just this side of Jamie's house, and work our way up through, and then I'm gonna start with a second rate around the grade. And we got dust control product today, so we're all set for that. Got the little Yanmar is all fixed now. I had to have Browns come over and reset the computer, and then we got it back out of the shop and the check engine light come back on, so they come right back over and there was a sensor bad, and they fixed that. The loader was smoking very badly. I had capital tractor over, that's repaired. Truck 3 is down, we got a piece of the clutch linkage came apart, so we got the piece ordered from Delirious. It should have been in, but I haven't heard from them, so that's about it on that. But like I said, I want to get started way down west, and there's between Jamie's house and the covered bridge, there's quite an extensive amount of ditching that needs to be done. So I'll get them started on that. They can work on that while I'm grading. So I talked to, go ahead, Cynthia.
No, I just wanted to mention that, I actually haven't been on this road for a week or so, so maybe something's happened, but there are a couple of smaller roads that I think still need some attention, like South Tory Lane has had a number of potholes on it, and maybe you've gotten to it and I just haven't been back.
I graded it a week and a half ago, I think.
Okay, then maybe it's all right.
Yeah, there is one there's a hole in the
The hole in the
blacktop.
pavement itself.
In the pavement, yeah,
Okay,
and
so-
we were out of
Right,
cold patch.
no, I know that's a different thing. No, if you graded it, then I just haven't been on it.
We were out of cold patch and I got some more the other day. I had some more product coming for the hydro seeder.
And there was, at that far end of River Road, there was a place where the dirt met the pavement that was
Yeah, there's some
damaged.
holes in the pavement there. too,
Yeah,
as
so
well.
if we could take, I mean, they're just
Yeah.
gonna get bigger, I mean, and we're not gonna be able, so if some attention could be paid for that. And also, I don't know if there's anything we can do about this, but at the corner of Bentley Lane and 313, and I think South Tory Lane and 313, there's
Yeah.
like puddles and damage, and that's the state, you know, we had the problem at the Yellow Barn. I don't know if we can put some gravel on there without getting in their hair or
I'd
what.
like to, but it's in the state right away, so I'm not sure if we can.
Okay.
If we could get people to.
It's because people
Not-
turn wide, you know, it's like,
Yeah,
ridiculous.
turn in the road, not
yeah, no, they
3
don't.
feet before the
I know
road,
that.
but I
know that.
understand, I know what you mean, and I've looked at those spots.
And I think ultimately it undermines the pavement and it, you know, can, affect other sort of.
There's no lateral drainage infrastructure in there in some places right around those roads, and that makes it a little bit tricky for the water
It
to get
does,
away
but
from it.
it's low right there. You know, I mean, there's, right there by
Yeah.
Bentley Lane, I mean,
Yeah.
it's that low, so
Yeah.
anytime it
Yeah.
rains, it fills with
just
water, and it
goes-
just
and people
keeps
drive
making
on.
mud.
Okay,
Um,
all right.
So, down,
Okay,
Jamie,
sounds
did
good.
you look at that map that we were talking about this afternoon or not? 313 corner in Sandgate. So if you come down Sandgate Road to 313, the house that's on the west side, right there on the intersection. If you come up and you look to the west, it's hard to see, more so with higher vehicles. There's a tree, or one or two trees there that the
Two.
Green Mountain Power took the top out of them because of the power lines,
Right,
but the branches are
they're huge.
they're huge and you can't see through them.
Right.
And I'd love to do something with them, but I think that's it's either in the state,
They are out of the state.
they're out of the state right away. So I wonder if we could contact that landowner.
Yeah, we can send them a letter.
I mean, it wouldn't take very long for us to take what's left there down, just because it's a hazard.
Yeah, no, we can send her a letter and go from there.
You know, and it wouldn't probably take 2 hours total to get down there, cut them up and truck them out of there, you know, to just make it safer for people.
I have two things. The problem with Blair Court, where we took the willow out.
Yep.
What's the status on that, on drainage area?
Yeah, well, it's drying up some.
Yeah, I
We-
saw that.
yeah.
I saw it was drying up.
The issue with the sewer,
Yep.
I went and I walked that whole area. I know there was talk about when,
After the culvert went in.
after the culvert went in, that it changed. But from what I can tell and from my experience from years, past, by putting that culvert in didn't affect their sewer at all.
I know.
If anything, it would have helped it
Yeah.
a little bit.
Well, that.
I think that
is a low
sewer,
area of a drainage ditch that drains the road up on Buck Hill.
right,
And the area right above Tommy Hayes' house, there's
Mhm.
a, lack of better words, a drainage ditch. And I know it's been lined with EPDM for
right.
at least 100 feet.
Now, is that something that the town did years ago?
Yes.
Okay,
We did that, probably
Yeah,
been
so we don't
close
need
to
to
20
for that
years
one.
now, but
okay.
It's not that long that we did the lining.
no, the lining was probably,
Because there's water
the ditch has
coming.
been there for a long.
Yeah, I
The
remember the
water
ditch.
comes off
I used to
Buck
plow the driveway, so I remember the
Yeah.
ditch
Fill right
being
in.
there.
used
But
to
it was
fill right
coming,
in.
it was coming out of the ditch into the
Into
house.
Tommy's, in fact.
So we
Mhm.
lined it to try to make sure that the
Mhm.
water, because it was road
Because it
water.
was coming through the ditch.
Yeah, so
Through
it
the
had
bank of the
to,
ditch. So
because
we lined
the
it.
ditch is above the house. I mean, it's really awkward.
Yeah.
So we lined it to try to make sure that the water got past the house, but we didn't do anything beyond that.
Sometimes that area fills in with leaf. debris
Yeah,
from the trees.
I can walk that, but the area where the sewer is failing
Way down.
No,
is
not the
more
sewer,
toward Blair.
It's the septic. Isn't it the
That's
septic?
it.
That's leach
Septic,
field.
sewer, same.
Right.
No, it's not the same thing.
Okay, define
We're
it.
using it as interchangeably here. It is a septic field in there that is joint between
There's
all
a
properties.
joint septic field
Right,
there,
no, I
however you
know
wanna,
that.
however you
And
wanna
then there's-
say.
And then there's a culvert of ours going under East Arlington Road, is that it?
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
And so what is the idea that somehow our culvert is affected?
They originally called thinking that maybe supposedly when the culvert was installed 2 years ago, it was before my time, anyways.
I'm sharing my screen for those.
When the culvert was installed, after the culvert was installed, so,
That's Blair Court. the road.
right, so,
Culvert is right here.
right there,
On Blair Court?
Yeah.
right.
Oh, okay.
And the
Down
septic
this way.
field, the
Oh,
septic
okay.
field is right here.
There's
All
nothing
right
but
here.
springs in there, that's why there's a willow tree growing.
Got it.
And there's a lot of ledge on that there, and that's.
And everybody's-
Right down there.
Built on-
Everybody's sewer up through East Arlington Road, we know
Yeah.
on a wet spring will surface.
Especially off
All
Buck Hill.
But if you
five
take-
properties on Blair Court use that one
One septic field.
field right here. They all share
And
it.
why did we put that culvert in? Because it was wet on the other side?
With water
On the other side?
above.
I have no idea why you put it in
Here.
Because there was a
Arlington,
major water issue.
Those two
above it.
there.
up above it.
We're getting a lot of water. So they put the culvert in, brought it down through.
And there's a good
And the
ditch.
claim is that once this ditch came in, this started coming to the surface.
I think it was coincidental. Because I walked that ditch from the outlet of the culvert that they put in, and it's a nice ditch, and it brings the water
Out in-
way out to where Jamie's finger is. But the septic field is right,
He's over against the wall.
he's right here.
Road.
It's right here.
Yeah.
So, this water that's coming through that culvert is actually dumping way out over here.
You can almost see how it goes.
Yeah, so none of that water has gotten to here. I think what happened is this failed about the same time that
Right.
culvert
That
was
culvert
put.
was put in.
Can you
Exactly.
tell me